Well, number one, Israel. It's crystal clear when you read the document, at least it was clear to me, reading the document, that the two sides agreed that the territorial integrity of Lebanon is guaranteed by both sides. You can't do that if there are Israeli troops in southern Lebanon, which they are. And you can't do it if they are shooting rockets at each other, which they are, as best I can tell, continuing to do. So that has to stop. And that means the Israelis have to pull their troops back across the border into Israel. At least that has to happen. And then hopefully no more rockets sent across the border. Who's going to make the Israelis do that? Nobody can except the United States. So the issue becomes, and I don't see any way out of it, either the United States does that or it doesn't. How could it do it? Very easy. You say to the Israelis, this has to stop, or else no more weapons, no more money, no more support. Israel cannot survive under those circumstances. So the withdrawal of America becomes an existential threat, more powerful and more immediate than any threat from Iran. That's the reality. You may not like that, but that's the reality. What might it mean if the United States doesn't do it? There are 10 different ways that could be done. One way that Mr. Trump will no doubt try is to pretend in some manner that he hasn't got the power, or that he has said something, but Mr. Netanyahu, or if he's replaced Mr. Bennett, his opposition in the internal Israeli elections, who is the same, who is another Netanyahu with a different name, that these people are not reacting properly. No, he put it on them. It really won't matter. This is a game. It stretches it out. It gives Israel another week, another month to keep doing what it's doing before it knows what it has to do. Or the United States, under Mr. Trump, and under the pressure being, I can't imagine, and I don't think any of your audience can imagine, the intensity with which Israel and its supporters inside the United States are working to make sure that pulling back from Lebanon is not required. Then there is a final possibility, which I don't know if anyone has raised, but it seems clear to me. You might involve Israel in a deal. Withdraw from Lebanon because you've made a commitment you have to, and go invade somebody else. Let's see if Israel can find part of Jordan, part of Syria, who knows, where you might recommence a greater Israel project the way you have before, but you are observing, because the United States insists on it, this would make it possible for the United States to support Israel in incursion to another country, insist that it has nothing to do with the Iran withdrawal from Lebanon, when that's what it is. And it's a way of giving Israel something to offset the cost. This is what people like Trump and the others do. How the Gulf states will react if that happens, how that part of the world will react, no one can tell you. But we are in, I don't want to lose for the details, I don't want to lose the bigger picture. The power Iran has shown to stick to its commitments, have a position, refuse to let the United States bully them to drop it, whether that's enriching uranium or controlling the Strait of Hormuz. It really doesn't matter. Doing things the United States as a global empire is opposed to. They did it. They did it for years. They outmaneuvered the United States, who did things inside Iran, as Israel did. That's how they knew who to assassinate and all of that kind of activity. And then they were bombed by these two countries and missiled and everything, and they didn't collapse, and they ended up getting this deal. Wow, this is a demonstration of anti-empire power that really has no parallel. It's different in at least one important way that I want to put on the table so people think about it. Yes, the United States lost the war in Vietnam. It lost the war in Afghanistan. It basically lost the war in Iraq. But in all of those three cases, huge amounts of American ground troops were used. They were shipped 10,000 miles away, landed in that country, moved across as a massive military army control. And it was decided in American military strategy that a land-based war in Asia is not a good idea. Well, then, what in the end is your military option? Answer: air power, airplanes, bombs, rockets. So they didn't use ground troops in Iran. Never, not even one. They used airplanes, missiles, drones, all the rest of it. And they failed. They failed with a land army in Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq, and now they failed without one. And you know what that adds up to? It adds up to an empire that is more a paper tiger than a real one. And how ironic that just at the same time that we were figuring that out, the American War Secretary, Mr. Hegseth, gives a speech in Europe where the G7 are meeting, in which he says to the British, you have a paper tiger. Your military is not adequate. And the British, or rather the Europeans, Mr. Rutte, who's quite a trip. I mean, watching a slavish mentality display itself that way is really ugly. But in any case, there he is, having nothing to say about this immense insult that he's just received. But he's being told that your European military is a paper tiger when the world is watching the United States fail over and over and over again with its military adventures, and nowhere more dramatically than here. These, for me, are the big initial takeaway from what we have seen.